Welcome back, everybody, to another shocking episode of Lockdown 23 and 1. That's right, shocking it is. Today we're going to be speaking on inmate homicides in prison. And I believe one of the stories is actually coming from jail as well. See, a lot of people think that prison and jail is the same thing, but it's not. As a matter of fact, to die in jail by another inmate's hands is much more rare than it happening in prison. Because in jail, no one's really been sentenced yet. They're going in and out the courtroom. But in prison, everybody's been sentenced. And some of them, they ain't never hit the streets again. So that means a lot of people are going to embrace the prison mentality. And that means violence. And I made a video speaking about the major differences between the two if you want to go run it back in my older playlist. But fear and violence is probably like the cornerstones to the jail and prison society. So let's get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. If you're new to the channel and enjoy all things lockup and crime related, then this is absolutely where you need to be. Hit that like, subscribe, notification bell before you leave, and check out my beautifully assorted playlist with many more videos for you to start watching today. Alright, for the first story, we're traveling all the way to California. That's California for anybody that doesn't understand my street slang. But the article begins saying 3 men serving life sentences in the California prison system. Hate to stop it already, but that's the key words right here, all 3 of them. Serving life, man. Prison is their life, and like I said, violence and fear is the cornerstones to power in prison. Don't ever forget it. And honestly, I don't think it'll ever change. But it says 3 men serving life sentences in the California prison system, 2 of whom have visible Nazi face tattoos. They're accused of attacking and killing another inmate, Salinas Valley State Prison. This place, ladies and gentlemen, should be pictured in the dictionary under the word treacherous. We've covered many stories of inmates losing their life in this prison, if I remember correctly. But it says around 9:55 a.m. Thursday, Todd Givens, Robert England, and Ray Waldron were observed by prison guards ganging up on the 4th man in the recreational yard and attacking him with improvised weapons, according to the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation. So let's go ahead and break that down for 1 second. 3 dudes on one. I hate to say it, but that's very typical with the California prison system, man. It seems like everyone that gets got was got by like 3 other people. And if I were to guess, it's to make sure that the job gets done. It's better to have 3 stones than 1 in that situation, right? Like I said, if I were to guess. It continues saying that guards ordered the men to stop, but the victim, 57-year-old Todd Morgan, was fatally wounded and died minutes later. No other inmates or staff were injured. But prior to his death, Morgan was serving a life sentence as well, following a conviction for a second-degree burglary and firearms charges with previous felony convictions under California's 3 strikes law. And I hear all the time in the comments, people want this 3-strike law all the way across the country. Man, I can't imagine getting a burglary or something and then getting life in prison behind a 3rd strike. But he arrived at Salinas Valley State Prison in 2022, following a conviction in Santa Clara County, and would have been able to eventually seek parole. His alleged killers are 3 men who are serving life sentences for murder. Picture that. Including one who was sentenced to be executed prior to California's moratorium on the practice. And oh man, homeboy was supposed to get the needle, but he's still in prison giving people the shank. Crazy to think, right? Givens, 56, arrived at the prison from Tulare County, hopefully I pronounced that right, 21 years ago after being sentenced to death for 1st-degree murder. While incarcerated, he was convicted of possessing a manufactured weapon and assault, which were ordered to be served alongside his life sentence. England, 61, has been in California prison system since at least 1993, when he was sentenced to life in prison on a 1st-degree murder charge out of San Bernardino County. In 1998, he received an additional life sentence for assaulting an inmate and then received another life sentence the following year for similar crimes. Wow, yeah, these guys had absolutely nothing to lose. Like I said, fear. Violence makes the penitentiary system go round. It brings structure, just like, the courts do, sentencing people to decades in prison. Just a little bit different of a structure. Now picture yourself getting a violent crime in the California prison system. These are the type of inmates that you're going to be surrounded by. Dudes that don't care about snatching your damn life away. Skin you alive before they go get their breakfast tray. Waldron, 51, arrived at SVSP from San Diego County after being sentenced to life for 1st-degree murder, attempted 1st-degree murder, and assault and gun-related charges. He received an additional life sentence last year after he was convicted of trying to kill another person while in prison. And I know a lot of people are saying, if they did all this stuff to inmates in prison, what are they doing around other inmates still? It's because that's a process, man. They might go to the shoe side pocket for a year or two, but they need the room. They can't just keep them there forever. They got other big fish to fry as well. So if you're good, they'll start recycling you. That's what I like to call it, right? If you go infraction free for a certain amount of time, they're going to think you're somewhat rehabilitated and they'll throw you down a lower level. And that means you're going to be around more people. And that means more opportunities to kill. See, a lot of people don't understand that these dudes and organizations and stuff like that, they really mean, some of them, they really embrace it until they're dead. It's their life 100%. They put everything into it. So if that means being really good in the hole just to get out into population and commit more crimes for whoever, then so be it. That's a process. That's a life that they signed up for. And they're going to ride out with it till the end. Some people don't want to ride out to the end and want to change. Well, those guys have fully embraced it. Chances are in certain prisons, they'll be there to end you too. But the article continues saying that a large population of inmates belonging to the white supremacist and neo-Nazi gangs can be found concentrated in some of the most high-security prisons in America. Salinas Valley State Prison is one of California's maximum security prisons with a population of more than 2,400 inmates. The facility also provides an outpatient and inpatient services for inmates with severe mental health disorders. This is the second inmate suspected homicide to take place at SVSP in the last 9 days. Wow, man, they're almost at 10. They're probably going to throw a party. Couldn't make it though, man. You know, I'm just playing. They probably weren't going to throw a party, but I'm telling you, I've been covering these inmate homicide stories for a long time. And what I've been seeing lately, it's like across the country, doesn't matter where you're at. Inmates are getting beat, shanked to death left and right. Stay free, ladies and gentlemen. But moving right along to the second story, this one's kind of sad. Traveling all the way down to Pennsylvania. It says, according to the Cumberland County District Attorney, D'Angelo Nolan, 33, was taken to the prison after being arrested for an unrelated defiant trespassing incident. After being assigned a cell in the prison just before noon the same day, the district attorney McCormick said Nolan allegedly began physically assaulting the other occupant of the cell, Eric Gaynor, 41. McCormick said that Gaynor was asleep on the top bunk when Nolan entered the cell. Surveillance footage and subsequent reports acquired by police indicated that the CCP corrections officers responded to the cell after fellow inmates reported observing Nolan striking Gaynor according to the court documents. Gaynor was taken to the hospital and received emergency surgery to treat the swelling of his brain. Doctors couldn't control the swelling of Gaynor's brain, and McCormick said that he died just after 6:30 p.m. Now picture this, Eric Gaynor, the one that was beat to death while he was sleeping, which blows my mind in itself, but this is the reason why he was probably relaxed, not thinking twice. It says Eric Gaynor was only in there for a DUI charge, carrying a maximum of 6 months in prison. If I were to guess, he definitely wouldn't have been getting a max. Maybe just a few months, right? So, it doesn't matter how much time you get, any given time. Out here in the streets, jail, prison, it doesn't matter. Your ticket can be up right then and there. By a drunk driver or by a new cellmate. All these situations you got to be aware of and ready. You know, just like if it was a Friday night, you better wear your seatbelt and keep your eyes peeled, man. There's a lot of drunk drivers. Same goes for prison cellmates, man. You don't know nothing about him. He could be mentally drunk, man. Who knows? And come in there trying to kill you. You got to be ready for anything, especially in two different kind of worlds, right? Prison streets, it doesn't matter. You got to find the danger and be on guard 24/7. But my condolences go out to Gaynor's family and friends, man. Very sad situation. His friends and family say we are heartbroken to hear about the passing of Eric Gaynor, and we are sending love and prayers to his family. Eric was a part of the fabric of Pine Square. We had the privilege of working alongside him for 10 years. He helped build Pine Square and will always be remembered as part of our family. And that statement's from Brickyard and Stonehouse Wood-Fired Pizza and Pastries. And they invite friends of Eric to join them today for the Mug Club Tuesday, October 28th from 4 to 6 p.m. We can have a fruity drink and a shot of Fireball in honor of him, the statement concluded. Very, very sad situation, and like I said already, my condolences go out to his friends and loved ones. If you're in the area, ladies and gentlemen, go get yourself a fruity little mix. And never forget, it doesn't matter. Behind those walls, you can get got at any given time. But that's a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you enjoyed and, became a little more aware of what you could be facing if you go to prison. There's some psychotic inmates running around there, man. They don't care about your life, let alone their own. They'll poke you up, go to the side pocket, take their meds, and wait for the next 3 trays. in some situations. And another thing, just to backtrack all the way to story number 1. Look, a lot of these guys that are getting killed in like California and places like that, a lot of them are part of organizations. And it's not just California, it's all across the country. So really think twice about making that decision, man, because to many people, it's for life, man, and there ain't no leaving it. But like I said, I'm out of here. If you're new to the channel and enjoy, hit that like, subscribe, notification bell before you leave. And as always, until the next time, y'all be easy, be safe, and stay free.